Hold on. Before you click away, you need to see this. A product listing just appeared on a Chinese retail platform for exactly 3 seconds before vanishing completely. But those 3 seconds, they might have just exposed DJI's most aggressive pricing strategy in years. And here's the kicker. If even half of what we're seeing is accurate, the entire 360 drone market is about to get flipped upside down. I'm talking pricing so low that I had to triple-check the conversion rates because something felt off. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why DJI might be making a move that could either be genius or financial chaos. Plus, we're diving into the Flip 2 situation that nobody's talking about properly. Let's get into it. Leak broke the internet. Alright, so here's what actually went down. Last week, an eagle-eyed user spotted something bizarre on a Chinese e-commerce platform, a full product listing for something called the DJI Avata 360. Now, if you're not familiar, accidental leaks on this particular platform have a reputation. They're not usually wrong. The listing included prices, specifications, bundle configurations, and even product images. Then, faster than you can say screenshot, it disappeared. But the internet never forgets, and within minutes, those images were everywhere. Let's talk numbers, because this is where my jaw literally hit the floor. The standalone Avata 360 drone was listed at 2,988 yuan. Run that through today's exchange rates, and you're looking at approximately $410 to $430 USD depending on the day. Just the drone body, no controller, no goggles, nothing extra. Now, if you're thinking that sounds reasonable, hold that thought because we're just getting started. The bundle options are where things get absolutely wild. A package including DJI's RC2 controller was priced at 3,988 yen. That's roughly $550 USD. But here's where it gets insane. 2 premium bundles, both listed at 5,688 yuan each, which converts to around 780 USD. These top-tier packages supposedly include multiple batteries, a charging hub, and here's the game changer, either FPV goggles or DJI's motion controller. Let me put this in perspective for you. Current 360-degree camera drones with comparable features easily push past $100 to $200 to $1,500 when you factor in all necessary accessories. We're talking about potential pricing that undercuts the competition by nearly 40 to 50%. Actually believe this? Here's where we need to pump the brakes and think critically. Because if there's one thing I've learned from years of covering tech leaks, it's this. Early pricing is almost never final pricing. DJI doesn't typically play in the budget arena, especially not with cutting-edge technology that combines first-person view flight capabilities with 360-degree capture. That's expensive tech to develop and manufacture. So what's really happening here? I see 3 realistic possibilities. First, these could be internal placeholder prices used for preliminary market testing within China specifically. Second, they might be pre-tariff, pre-certification figures that don't account for international regulations, import costs, or regional markup strategies. Third, and this is the cynical take, they could be intentionally leaked lower numbers designed to generate exactly this kind of buzz and conversation. Marketing 101, right? Let's be honest about the global pricing reality. When these devices hit international markets, assuming they do, you're going to see additional costs pile on. There's FCC certification in the United States, CE marking for Europe, plus shipping logistics, distributor margins, and retailer markups. Historically, DJI's Chinese domestic pricing runs about 15 to 25% lower than what we see in Western markets. Do the math on these leaked numbers with that premium added, and suddenly we're looking at potentially $500 to $600 for the base unit and maybe $900 to $1,000 for premium bundles internationally. But even with that adjustment, we're still talking about remarkably aggressive positioning. And that's what makes this leak so fascinating. Even if the final prices climb by 30% before launch, DJI would still be undercutting established competitors significantly. That's not accident, that's strategy. Confusion addressing. Now let's talk about the technical specifications from this leak, because this is where credibility gets tested. The listing claimed the Avata 360 features a single 1-inch image sensor, supports 6K video recording at 60 frames per second with HDR capability, and includes omnidirectional obstacle avoidance. On paper, that sounds pretty impressive for that price point. But here's the problem. These specs directly contradict earlier rumors that have been circulating for months. Previous insider leaks suggested a dual 1.1-inch sensor configuration, with some sources even claiming 8K 360-degree video capture capabilities. That's a massive discrepancy we can't just ignore. What does this mismatch actually tell us? In my opinion, 3 scenarios make sense. Scenario 1. This listing represents an early prototype configuration that DJI has since upgraded during development. Scenario 2. We're looking at a mid-tier model, and there might be multiple versions planned with different sensor configurations and capabilities. Scenario 3. The leak is partially accurate, but mixing details from different development stages or product variants. None of these scenarios would surprise me, honestly. DJI has a documented history of testing multiple hardware configurations internally before finalizing production models. Remember the Mini 3? That went through at least 2 major hardware revisions before launch based on regulatory feedback and user testing data. Complex products, like a 360-degree FPV drone, don't get finalized overnight. There are thermal management considerations, flight stability calibrations with different sensor weights, and battery life optimization challenges that might necessitate hardware changes during development. The takeaway here isn't that the leak is fake, it's that we're probably seeing a snapshot of a moving target. DJI is clearly working on something in this category, but the final product might look different from what leaked. DJI's actual strategy. Step back from the numbers for a second and look at the bigger strategic picture. What is DJI actually trying to accomplish here? I think they're making a calculated bet on market expansion over margin maximization. Let me explain what I mean by that. The 360-degree drone market right now is tiny. It's a niche within a niche. The barrier to entry isn't just price, it's complexity. You need specialized knowledge to operate these systems effectively, the learning curve is steep, and the content creation workflow is complicated. By potentially offering a more accessible price point combined with DJI's reputation for user-friendly interfaces, they're not just competing for existing 360 drone users. They're trying to create entirely new users. Here's my hot take that might be controversial. I think DJI is willing to sacrifice profit margins on hardware because they're building an ecosystem play. Think about it. Once you're invested in DJI's 360 platform, you're buying their batteries, their memory cards, their accessories, their cloud storage subscriptions, and potentially their editing software. That's where the real long-term revenue sits, not in the initial hardware sale. But, and this is crucial, DJI also isn't stupid about cannibalization. They're not going to price this so aggressively that it destroys sales of their higher-end systems, like the Inspire series or premium FPV offerings. The final pricing structure will be carefully calibrated to create clear differentiation between consumer, prosumer, and professional tiers. That's product line management 101. My prediction? When this officially launches, we'll see the base price come in around $549 to $599 internationally, with premium bundles landing between $899 and $1,199. Still aggressive, still disruptive, but with enough margin built in to protect DJI's profitability and avoid destroying their premium positioning. The Flip 2 silence speaks now. While everyone's obsessing over the Avata 360 leak, there's another DJI product that's been conspicuously absent from conversations, the Flip 2. And honestly, that silence might be more telling than any leak could be. Let's establish context first. The original DJI Flip launched with a very specific mission: be the safest, most approachable drone for absolute beginners. Built-in propeller guards, intuitive controls, sub 250 gram, weight to avoid registration requirements in most countries, and a price point that didn't induce sticker shock. It wasn't trying to compete with the Mini series on image quality or the Air series on performance. It carved out its own lane focused entirely on accessibility and confidence for first-time pilots. So, where's the sequel? Here's the reality check nobody wants to hear. DJI typically operates on 18 to 24-month refresh cycles for consumer drones, but that timeline isn't guaranteed. It's demand-dependent. The original Flip is still relatively young in product lifecycle terms, and more importantly, there are 0 credible leaks suggesting an imminent Flip 2 announcement. No supply chain reports, no regulatory filings, no prototype sightings, nothing. When DJI is genuinely close to launching something, the leak ecosystem activates across multiple channels simultaneously. We see regulatory database entries, supplier reports from the manufacturing chain, beta tester NDAs getting violated, and retailer system leaks all happening within weeks of each other. That pattern hasn't emerged for a Flip 2, which tells me we're realistically looking at late 2026 at the earliest, possibly even 2027. If and when a Flip 2 does materialize, temper your expectations for revolutionary changes. This product category is about refinement, not reinvention. The camera system might see improved image processing algorithms for better low-light performance and more consistent color science. But don't expect a massive sensor upgrade that would add weight and cost. Flight time could improve incrementally through more efficient motors or battery chemistry improvements, maybe 22 to 25 minutes instead of the current 18 to 20. The real innovation opportunity sits in software and intelligent features, improved subject tracking that actually works reliably, more refined gesture controls that don't require perfect conditions, expanded quick-shot modes that appeal to social media creators, and possibly basic obstacle avoidance enhancements through software-based solutions rather than adding heavy sensor arrays. DJI has proven repeatedly that smart software can deliver meaningful improvements without requiring complete hardware overhauls. Your decision framework. So here's the practical question. What should you actually do with this information? If you're in the market for a 360 drone right now, should you wait for the Avata 360? If you're considering a beginner drone, should you hold out for a Flip 2? For the Avata 360 situation, here's my take. If you don't currently own a 360 drone and you've been waiting for the right entry point, it's probably worth waiting another few months to see if this materializes. The value proposition, even with adjusted pricing, seems potentially strong enough to justify patience. However, if you need something immediately for specific projects or content deadlines, don't put your creative work on hold for an unconfirmed product with no official launch date. For the Flip 2 question, my answer is simpler. Don't wait. With no concrete leaks, no regulatory breadcrumbs, and no clear timeline, you could be sitting on the sidelines for a year or more. The current Flip remains a solid choice for its intended audience right now. Technology will always improve. That's the nature of the game. But opportunities and creative moments don't wait for product refresh cycles. Look, here's the bottom line that nobody else is saying clearly enough. These leaks, whether intentional or accidental, reveal that DJI is actively pushing into new territory with aggressive positioning strategies. The Avata 360, if it launches anywhere near these leaked price points, represents a legitimate market disruption attempt, and the Flip 2 silence suggests DJI is comfortable letting the current model mature before rushing into a refresh cycle. I'm going on record with a prediction. The Avata 360 launches officially within the next 4 months, priced at $599 for the base unit in the US market, and it outsells DJI's internal projections by at least 30%, because they're underestimating pent-up demand at that price point. Screenshot this. Call me out if I'm wrong. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think DJI can actually deliver a quality 360 FPV drone at these prices, or are we all setting ourselves up for disappointment? Drop your honest take in the comments below. And if you think I'm completely wrong about the Flip 2 timeline, tell me why. I genuinely want to hear opposing viewpoints. If this analysis added value to your day and helped you make sense of these confusing leaks, smash that like button. It genuinely helps YouTube show this video to more people who need this information. Subscribe if you want more DJI coverage without the hype and marketing fluff. Just honest analysis. And click that bell icon because when official announcements drop, I'll have breakdowns ready within hours. I've got a community post going up tomorrow with a poll about pricing predictions. Go vote after this, and let's see if the community collectively gets it right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.